Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about Venus transiting the fifth house in a natal chart. Now, if your house size is average, say it's 30 degrees, well, then Venus will transit that house for approximately 25 days, but only if it is just direct motion during that transit. However, if your house size is larger and or Mercury is retrograde at any point during that transit, then it will be transiting that house longer. Well, anyway, the first thing I look at when Venus is transiting your natal fifth house is that if you're connected with a love somebody in a romantic partner right now, it could indicate that you may be bringing more reconciliation qualities to the relationship, perhaps more tact, diplomacy, being kind of being more careful how you word things to him or her. You may be striving for peace, and it could indicate a more passive and tranquil period connected with that romantic partner. And if you don't currently have a romantic partner, it could indicate that maybe if you're trying to find one, then it could be somebody maybe connected with something with the fifth house, somebody maybe that works with children. It could be somebody in the entertainment industry, maybe somebody associated with sports even. It could be somebody connected with drama or theater. So, and it may, and when Venus is transiting the fifth house, it could indicate an auspicious time for this. And of course, if you have like a good aspect that Venus is making to a natal planet, such as you have like transiting Venus hitting, making a sextile or trine to your natal Jupiter, of course, that could help as well. It could also be propitious and really could be advantageous for pregnancy if you're a woman during this time, and especially if you have like Jupiter in the fifth as well, or Venus making a good aspect to your natal Jupiter at this point in time. So those are some things to consider with Venus transiting your fifth house in your natal chart. It could also indicate that maybe you may spend money in connection with something in the fifth house. Maybe you're more apt to spend money, maybe going to a sporting event. It could be maybe spending a little bit more money than usual on something connected with entertainment, such as going to a play, to a movie, or maybe just things of enjoyment in general, such as spending money perhaps on going to an amusement park, to an arcade, to some place that you just like to, you have a lot of fun and enjoyment. Could be spending money on video games and or board games perhaps, and really expressing a lot of fun and enjoyment with this as well. This could be a time where you might feel more compatibility and more of a rapport with your children if you do have them. It could indicate that maybe that one or more of your children, if you have them, may have where you may benefit monetarily from one of them. Maybe one of them gives you a loan, for example, or you might be more generous with money toward them at this point, at this time of this transit than usual. And this could indicate that if you are currently attached and you have some relationship, you have a romantic partner, that this could only perhaps make it better and enjoy more peace and tranquility with that romantic partner. Now keep in mind too that the fifth house is also connected with gambling and speculation. If you're somebody that has a propensity for this anyway, perhaps would be a better period on average for this, but it's also important to remember not to go overboard. And I always say everything in moderation, and including moderation, of course. So this might be a period where maybe you might come into maybe some money through something speculative, whether it's something with the stock market or it's something with gambling where it's legal, of course. And the thing about this is this could be showing a love for love itself. This is often a very good transit for matters connected with love and romance. And as I stated, if you're not currently connected with someone and you're unattached, it might be a time where a new love interest may start. So anyway, well, it's also important to look at the sign that Venus is transiting. Is when it's transiting the fifth house, as this could flavor the transit. Well, let's say, for example, that Venus is in Sagittarius for either the majority or the whole time of its transit in the fifth house. Well, this might indicate a love of sports-related hobbies, perhaps, and you might express a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm connected with your hobbies, perhaps at this time. Now, let's say another example, let's say that Venus is transiting, it's in Capricorn during either the majority or the whole time of the transit to the fifth house. Well, this could indicate perhaps enjoyment of sustained, consistent relationship at this point. And also perhaps a love, maybe even of business games such as Cash Flow or Monopoly in some cases. Now, let's say also it's important to look at the aspects that are made from this Venus in fifth house transit that are made to your natal points and planets at this time, because this could impact the transit. Now, let's say, for example, that Venus transiting Venus in the fifth house is making a square in conjunct or opposition to your natal Neptune. Well, this could indicate perhaps being wary of spending money on connection with something unrealistic or unrealistic speculative ventures, being that's the fifth house you're getting the Venus transit in, and that could indicate speculative ventures. So another example, let's say that transiting Venus in the fifth house is making a sextile or trine to your natal Pluto. Well, this could be auspicious for a positive change, perhaps in something you love, which could be a hobby or perhaps a creative endeavor. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Venus transiting the fifth house in a natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about Venus transiting the sixth house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.